Coming up on WUFT's First at 5, a long weekend of protests in Los Angeles that turned violent. How the deployment of the National Guard played a role.
Then how residents of Gainesville are preparing for the hurricane season with no tax break on supplies just yet.
And storms are becoming increasingly likely this week. The UF weather team is standing by, timing out those showers. First at 5 starts now.
First at 5 from the University of Florida's College of Journalism and Communications. You're watching WUFT News.
A live look at the city of Los Angeles, where protests erupted over the weekend against the Trump administration's immigration actions. And now, state leaders are suing President Trump for sending the National Guard to combat protesters. Protests against the immigration raids started on Friday. President Trump deployed 300 National Guard troops Sunday without the state's request. Welcome to First at 5. I'm Ciara Carle.
And I'm Radaysha Robinson. As NBC's Jay Gray reports, California governor and the LA mayor criticized the president, but they faced pushback from the border czar, Tom Homan.
Burned out cars, broken glass and debris litter the streets of downtown Los Angeles. Remnant from a weekend of violence. Thousands of protesters, police, and the National Guard squaring off as sweeping immigration raids continue across the city.
What ICE did the last couple of days is make Los Angeles safer by taking public safety threats off the street.
Dozens have been detained. Family members speaking publicly for the first time today say most are simple, hard-working laborers.
I'm here today on behalf of my father and the dozens of families who were kidnapped by ICE. I witnessed how they put my father in handcuffs, chained him from the waist and from his ankles.
She says the detainees haven't been allowed to communicate with lawyers or their families.
Donald Trump, at the end of the day, is the sponsor of these conditions.
California Governor Gavin Newsom accusing the president of manufacturing a crisis, federalizing 2,000 of the state's National Guard soldiers, deploying around 300 so far. A move being challenged now in court.
I, in partnership with Governor Gavin Newsom, are suing President Trump. Trump and Hegseth ignored law enforcement's expertise and guidance and trampled over our state's, California's, sovereignty.
Undeterred, President Trump says the raids and show of force will continue.
We're going to have troops everywhere.
500 California-based Marines now on standby, ready to move in. Jay Gray, NBC News, Los Angeles.
Ocala Police Department with other law enforcement agencies arrested 20 people during a child sexting operation. Investigators say all those arrested had explicit conversations online with those who thought were children and traveled to meet them. Detectives posed as minors online to lure in people trying to sexually exploit children. 6 of those arrested are Ocala residents and 13 are Marion County residents. Their ages range from 25 years old to 69. Detectives say one man, Joshua Faulkner, was a prominent figure among local equestrians, and he had access to children.
Tonight, the Alachua City Commission will work to appoint a new interim city manager just a week after controversy about the open position. We told you last week in an email from Commissioner Jacob Fletcher accused other commissioners of attempting to appoint Rudolfo Valderez to the interim city manager role without the full commission and without a public notice. Fletcher detailed other conflicts of interest concerns involving Valderez and the commission. The meeting starts in less than an hour, and WUFT has a reporter attending.
It was a hot weekend across north central Florida. Sunday's temperatures reached 96 degrees, the hottest of the month so far. And in today's high heat, showers and thunderstorms developed in parts of north central Florida today. UF forecaster Aiden Wacksman is tracking these storms, and he says chances of rain will be high throughout the week.
Ciara, we were tracking some showers and thunderstorms moving through parts of north central Florida, including Suwannee County, Columbia County, and Union County, but those have actually cleared out for the most part, so skies should be clearing up a little bit in those areas. But one thing that's not going away is the heat. Gainesville at 99 degrees, Cedar Key at 95. There just seems to be no escape, even as we get into the later evening hours, too. 4 a.m. early morning hours tomorrow, still at 73 degrees. But one thing we will get a break from, at least for the rest of the night, is that rain that has been going on for so much of the last couple of weeks. And coming up in weather, a toasty Tuesday and a rainy middle to end of the week.
Hurricane preparedness is on the mind of Floridians. Some say they want to prepare, but say they're holding out and hoping the legislature will announce the tax-free preparedness holiday period soon. Destruction, danger, damage. The havoc left after back-to-back hurricanes in the Sunshine State. Gainesville Public Information Officer Rosanna Passaniti says the memories are what motivate leaders to urge you to prepare.
The most important thing is don't be scared, be prepared.
The city created safegnv.org. There you can download pamphlets that will help you plan ahead of the storm.
It comes in English and it comes in Spanish.
Okay, perfect.
And it has all kinds of good information inside.
You should stock up on non-perishable items, update important documents for people and pets, and make a list of medication. Passanini says it also pays to be a good friend.
When we're anticipating a storm or after, is to always check on your neighbors.
Because she says it's important to have support before, during, and after the storm. For your convenience, you can scan the QR code on the screen. That will take you to the link to the emergency management pamphlet on WUFT.org.
It was a deadly weekend in north central Florida with 3 separate deadly car crashes in Marion, Levy, and Alachua counties. Troopers say early Sunday in Marion County, an elderly woman was walking across Highway 301 when she was hit by a car. Florida Highway Patrol says the 81-year-old was dead when they arrived. Then, in Levy County, troopers say a motorcyclist crashed into the side of a car near intersection US 27 and Northeast 140th Court late Saturday night. The report says the car was trying to pull into the Marathon gas station when it crossed in front of the motorcycle. The driver was pronounced dead at the hospital. A teen driver died in a single car crash in Alachua early Sunday morning. Troopers say the 17-year-old crossed into the shoulder and hit a tree. Florida Highway Patrol says he was dead when they arrived.
Florida State Park announced the death of Lou the hippo on its Facebook page Sunday. Lou died after spending over 60 years at Ellie Schiller Homosassa Springs Wildlife State Park. Lou was born at the San Diego Zoo, but spent most of his life in the Homosassa Springs. He stole hearts in person and on screen, having featured in many TV shows and movies in the 1960s. One of his most famous roles in the Daktari, which aired 4 seasons. Now he is remembered fondly by the Florida State Park for his larger-than-life personality.
Coming up next on First at 5, President Trump takes a stand, promoting his Trump accounts and proposed bill.
And what the newly implemented travel ban means for the affected countries, coming up next on First at 5.
You're watching WUFT-TV News.
President Trump returned to the White House today for a roundtable promoting his Trump accounts, covered under what he calls the One Big Beautiful Bill.
This comes as critical trade talks between China and the U.S. and his new travel ban takes effect today. Vaughn Hilliard details it all from Washington.
I also want to thank you for being here.
Today at the White House, President Trump highlighting a line item in what he calls his Big Beautiful Bill, a promise to put $1,000 into investment accounts for American children born before the end of his second term.
This is a pro-family initiative that will help millions of Americans harness the strength of our economy to lift up the next generation.
Though the idea to give children a financial head start is not new, a similar plan is already in place in Connecticut. And while many support the investment, it does add to the hefty price tag of the president's signature legislation, due in part to its significant tax cuts. The spending package, which the Congressional Budget Office says would add $2.4 trillion to the deficit, led to his blow-up with billionaire Elon Musk. Still, most Republicans are siding with Trump and standing by the bill.
I didn't go out to craft a piece of legislation to please the richest man in the world. What we're trying to do is help hardworking Americans who are trying to provide for their families and make ends meet.
As the president's domestic economic agenda is debated here at home, his foreign trade policies are front and center overseas. Today in London, senior U.S. officials are meeting with their Chinese counterparts amid a bitter trade war. The battle between the largest economies has wreaked havoc on the global economy. Some Democrats say the president's policies, particularly tariffs, could trigger a recession.
Small businesses are closing down. The economy has retracted in the first quarter. And when I get out there talking to independents, Republicans, or Democrats, they're basically saying the same thing. They're really scared of what's happening right now.
On the foreign policy front, President Trump's travel ban formally goes into effect today, barring individuals from 12 different countries, particularly in Africa and the Middle East, from coming to the United States. The president says it's needed for national security. His critics call it unconstitutional and un-American. Vaughn Hilliard, NBC News, Washington.
Afternoon showers and thunderstorms will be picking up over the next few days. I'll have your forecast next.
You're watching WUFT-TV News.
As hurricane season begins, Citrus County is working to keep their community in the know.
The new hazard risk portal makes it easier for residents to access their risk of being caught in a flood. County commissioners say about 36,000 properties in Citrus County are in the special hazard flood area. The new hazard risk portal, run through the platform Forerunner, is part of the county's effort to better prepare and recover from flooding. For more information, visit the Citrus County website on your screen. You know, guys, speaking of flooding, I feel like it has not stopped raining here in Gainesville.
I agree, Ciara. But can you let us know, Aiden, what it's going to look like here in Gainesville?
Yeah, the rain won't be stopping anytime soon. As a matter of fact, it might actually pick up in the middle to end parts of this week. Taking a look at the satellite and radar, you can see for today, some of those storms from earlier have actually fizzled out and moved off the coast. Right now, skies actually clearing up for most of north central Florida. Now, the severe risk for today was applied to most of the southeast, South Carolina, Georgia, and Mississippi and Alabama, but for most of the north central Florida area, pretty clear of the severe threat. And although the northernmost parts of north central Florida had some severe weather today, most of our area steered clear of that. The campus cam showing some of those clear skies overhead, temperatures at 93 degrees right now, some wind gusts maybe cooling things off just a bit, but not enough because we are still quite hot out there. The rest of north central Florida, temperatures in the high 80s, low 90s for much of the area. St. Augustine maybe getting a little sea breeze there at 84 degrees. Tonight, temperatures not cooling off that much, 81 degrees at 10 o'clock still, but at least we'll get a break from the rain, especially into the later evening hours if those storms don't have enough heat to feed off of. The futurecast showing these showers and thunderstorms popping up along the I-75 and I-95 corridor into the late evening hours tomorrow. The possibility for that rain should extend into Wednesday. Tuesday morning, low temperatures, Gainesville at 72, Cedar Key warm at 79, but they also get a little bit of a break with their high temperatures at 86 degrees. That's thanks to a nice sea breeze, but for the rest of north central Florida, still staying in the mid-90s with the possibility for heat index in the 100-degree range. And parents, if you are taking your kids to summer camp tomorrow, here's your forecast, staying hot and muggy throughout most of the day. Make sure to pack your kids a water bottle if they're going to summer camp, or a nice towel to cool off, with an increasing chance of storms though at the 3 o'clock hour. So if you are going out around 3 or 4 o'clock, might be a good idea to take an umbrella or a poncho just in case. Can never hurt. The futurecast showing a stalled front bringing some of these rains to north central Florida on Wednesday. Some of those could be heavier as we continue throughout the rest of the week. Thursday, some pop-up showers and thunderstorms possible all the way into Friday too. The possibility for those actually continues all the way into the weekend. The 7-day outlook showing those showers and thunderstorms here to stay, with some high temperatures in the mid-90s and some low temperatures just staying warm in the low to mid-70s.
You're watching WUFT-TV News.
Welcome to Sports. I'm Luis Rodriguez Combe. We start in high school basketball, where former Gator great Cornelius Ingram is stepping down as the head coach of the Hawthorne girls basketball team. The school announcing that he's being replaced by Sherika Jackson. Ingram told our partners at Main Street Daily News that he felt it was time to step away after winning in an elite level. He had an unprecedented level of success with the Hornets, winning 3 state championships. He also won 2 state titles as head coach of the football team, which he will remain in charge of for the season. Jackson comes in with over 20 years of coaching experience and says taking the job was an easy decision.